The largest successful heists in history by good enough. Can I just say, I fucking love stick figure animation. I don't care what it is, who's doing it. It's simple, it gets the job done, and it makes my brain happy.
Let's start with the heists that were almost perfect and slowly work our way towards the ones that made some thieves multi-millionaires. Number 7. The Great Brinks Robbery. On January 17th, 1950, in Boston, Massachusetts, 11 men entered the Brinks Armored Car Depot, all wearing chauffeur caps, pea coats, rubber Halloween masks, and each carrying a .38 caliber revolver. The 5 workers on shift that day were
Did he say 11 guys? They got 11 motherfuckers to walk into this to rob what is it, a Brinks truck place? Oh, hang on.
11 men entered the Brinks Armored Car Depot.
The Brinks Armored Car Depot. Do you guys think you guys could pull off a heist? If we're talking 1970, what's the biggest establishment you can rob? 1970? Dude, I think I could actually get away with anything. Like, nobody gave a fuck about anything until, like, the turn of the fucking millennia. You could rob a McDonald's today and get away with it. But don't.
All wearing chauffeur caps, pea coats, rubber Halloween masks, and each carrying a .38 caliber revolver.
Crazy fucking fit, by the way. What year was this?
On January 7th,
1950? Dude, if you can't get away with a robbery in 1950, you're a bum. You're actually a fucking bum. Just, yeah, wear a mask and no one knows who you are. And wear gloves, you're good. 1950.
The 5 workers on shift that day were quickly tied up and their mouths were taped shut. The thieves were in and out within 20 minutes, stealing over $2.7 million in cash and valuables, a value that would be worth around $36 million today.
That's what I was just gonna look up. Oh my god! For 11 guys, that's still like $3 million, dude.
No one was injured and not a single piece of useful evidence was left behind. Even the escape vehicle that was used for the robbery was later found cut to pieces at the local dump. All in all, it was the perfect heist. It would even be labeled by the media as the crime of the century. The case would have gone cold if it weren't for the greed of 2 of the thieves. You see, later that year, 2 of the thieves were captured in another bank robbery, Joseph O'Keefe and Stanley Guscara. Both men were looking at many years behind bars, so they began to beg their previous partners for money to help pay for their lawyer fees. But they were rejected and were sentenced to jail. After serving his time, O'Keefe was released, only to be arrested once again. And just like before, he requested money from his previous partners, this time claiming that he didn't get his fair share in the Brinks robbery. But again, he was rejected. So O'Keefe threatened to testify against his previous partners unless he got some money. Soon after his threats, O'Keefe was shot multiple times by a hired hitman, but barely survived. While recovering in the hospital, FBI agents approached him, making a deal to testify against the men that tried to kill him. O'Keefe testified in court, explaining in great detail on how they managed to pull off the Brinks robbery.
By the way, these fucking stick animations are insane. I actually love it.
And all of his previous partners were sentenced to life in prison. Now, the crazy part is that if this trial had taken place just 5 days later, it would have reached the statute of limitations, and all the men would have gotten away with the perfect heist.
Oh my god, 5 days? Yo, why didn't they just throw bro some money? They couldn't throw bro a couple bucks? That's an investment at that point. That's crazy. That's genuinely insane. I'd be so pissed. That's what I'm saying, bro. 1950, 11 guys walked into a Brinks truck place, took all the money and got away with it. Dead serious?
Number 6. The Lufansza Heist. One of the largest heists and perhaps the bloodiest in history was the Lufansza Heist. In the middle of the night on December 11th,
Not a real year, by the way. Just completely not a real year. You can get away with anything in 1978.
78, 6 men broke into the Lufthansa's airline cargo terminal at New York's John F. Kennedy Airport. The men quickly made their way to the airline's vault, stealing $5.8 million in cash and $800,000 worth of jewels, a value that would be worth around $32 million today.
Same.
No
Yeah.
bullets were fired, nobody was injured, and the heist only took an hour to complete. On that night, those 6 men managed to pull off the largest heist in American history. None of the men involved would ever be caught for this robbery. But just because the men were never caught doesn't mean that they lived long enough to enjoy the money. You see, authorities began to connect the 6 men to the Lucchese crime family, one of the 5 notorious Italian-American mafia crime families that ruled New York during this time period. But as authorities began to pinpoint exactly who was involved in the robbery, one by one, the men in question began to show up dead. Over a dozen bodies and numerous disappearances made convicting anyone impossible. Many men were found shot to death. A man was found hogtied and frozen to death inside of a meat refrigeration truck. Then a few days later, a woman's torso washed ashore in New Jersey. And so on and so on. In the end, none of the money was ever recovered. And with so many people murdered, no one really knows who ended up with the money. But whoever did would be set for life. Number 5.
That's crazy. What the fuck? I don't even understand. Dude. Like, there's no way the world was a real place in the fucking 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. It's just no way. Just no fucking way. Sometimes you really gotta, like, take a step back and really think, like, this shit happened to real people. Like, this really happened one day in the world. That sounds so stupid to say. Like, of course it really happened, dipshit. But, like, that's fucking nuts. Dark Knight Joker type shit? Honestly, fucking great. No, yep, that's pretty much, yep. Opening scene, that's pretty much exactly what happened, yeah.
3. A gang of 15 robbers intercepted a Royal Mail train in Buckinghamshire, England. The robbers had stuffed a glove over the green railroad light and powered the red light using a portable battery, causing the driver of the train to come to a complete stop. Went to investigate why the train was signaled to stop. He was quickly attacked and hit over the head with the metal pipe, then handcuffed and thrown to the side of the tracks. The robbers would escape with £2.6 million, a value that would be around £46 million today, or approximately $60 million.
God! Hang on. Let's really think about what they did here.
The robbers had stuffed a glove over the green railroad light.
They covered the green light
And powered the red light using a
turned the red light on.
Portable battery, causing the driver of the train to come to a complete stop. As the driver went to investigate why the train was signaled to stop, he was quickly
Bonk.
attacked and hit over the head with the metal pipe, then handcuffed and thrown to the side of the tracks. The robbers would escape with $2.6 million.
And then they just got the money. That's it. Then they got it.
After the robbery, all 15 men and 2 key informants met at a farmhouse. There, they evenly split the money and fled. The farmhouse was then set ablaze by 6 men who were paid to destroy all of the evidence. But unfortunately for the thieves, the 6 men did such a terrible job that the police were able to acquire all of the burglars' fingerprints, which they found on a Monopoly board. Thanks to the board game, 15 of the 17 members would get arrested, convicted, and sent to prison. Only one of the members was acquitted, as there just wasn't enough evidence to convict him. Meanwhile, the other member, who was believed to have had inside information on the train and the valuables it was carrying, was never caught or identified. And to this day, this man remains a complete mystery.
Ew, he's cold! Dude, how the fuck can you not destroy something? You didn't destroy it? Well, just light the shit on fire! How'd they get a whole Monopoly board?
He is only known by his alias, the Ulsterman. Nothing else is known about him. Number 3, the British Bank of the Middle East heist. Now, there is no other heist surrounded in more mystery than the British Bank of the Middle East heist. On January 20th, 1976,
not a real year,
an unknown amount of thieves broke into the British Bank of the Middle East in Beirut during a civil war. The heist began when the thieves broke into the neighboring Catholic church.
Dude, look at these fucking animations. I've just been breezing past these. These are phenomenal.
As he shared a
Thank you for the 10. They are.
wall with the bank. They then set off explosives on the connecting wall, gaining access to the bank. Once inside, the group's locksmith quickly got to work on the vault's locks, and within a few hours, the thieves acquired anywhere from $20 to $50 million worth of gold bars, cash, and jewels, an estimated value of around $110 to $280 million today. With no leads or suspects to go off of, an investigation never really began. This was a flawless heist, done at the perfect time. Of course, without knowing how many thieves there were, I can't calculate how much money they each would have gotten, but it's safe to assume that each member made it out a multi-millionaire. Number 2, the Antwerp diamond.
Y'all think that shit's crazy? Hold up. Motherfuckers today are taking billions.
Number 2, the Antwerp diamond heist. On February 15, 2003,
I was 1 month old.
one of the most elaborate heists in history took place. It would even be known as the heist of the century. The Antwerp diamond heist was planned by a mastermind named Leonardo Notarbartolo. But for anyone who worked at the Antwerp Diamond Center in Belgium, Leonardo was just another diamond merchant who worked in the building, as he had worked there for over 3 years. You see, this was all part of the plan. Merchants received full access to the building, including the vault, where all the lockboxes were located. And shortly after he was hired, Leonardo began to carry a small pen in his shirt pocket, which he had installed with a small camera. With the footage he acquired, Leonardo and his team created a replica of the vault where they practiced breaking into it for months. The crew consisted of 5 men: Leonardo, Speedy, Monster, the Genius, and the King of Keys, each equipped with a special set of skills to aid in the heist. And on February 15, 2003, it was all or nothing. In the dead of night, the gang would make their way to the vault, quickly dialing in the combination, which they easily acquired thanks to a small hidden camera they had installed in the room a few days prior. They then turned the lights off, opened the vault door, and quickly sprayed the heat sensor with hairspray and covered it with styrofoam. Then they covered the light sensors with black bags to avoid triggering the alarms. The second gate was quickly lockpicked by the King of Keys, and once that was opened, Monster carefully got to work on the alarm wires, disabling them. And in the complete darkness, the gang broke open all the lock boxes with a custom-made gadget the King of Keys had created, which just worked like a large corkscrew. A few hours later, with over $100 million worth of diamonds, jewels, and cash, the thieves escaped, not leaving a single piece of evidence at the crime scene. All in all, it was the perfect heist. It wasn't until their escape out of the country that one of their members' paranoia would get the best of him. Speedy began to dump all the evidence linking them to the crime in a forest, instead of burning it as they had planned. This critical error came back to haunt them, as it was later discovered by the landowner. The junk contained envelopes to the Antwerp Diamond Center, surveillance tape footage, and receipts that linked the men to the crime. The men were quickly arrested, and Leonardo, the mastermind behind the heist, was sentenced to 10 years in prison, while 3 of the members were sentenced to 5.
10 years? 10 years for stealing 100 mil?
Only one man was so meticulous as to not leave any traces of his existence
King of Keys.
before, during, and after the heist, escaping with his fair share of the loot. He walked away with $20 million worth of valuables, or a value of around $34 million today. He has been described as an elderly man, but is only known to the world as the King of Keys.
The King of Keys, baby! The King of Keys got away! Oh my god!
And based on his work, is considered by many experts to be one of, if not the most talented key forger on the planet.
KOK, hold it down!
The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist. The largest successful heist in history might not be what you expect. On March 18th, 1990, in Boston, Massachusetts, around 12:30 a.m., 2 police officers arrived at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum to investigate a disturbance. Once inside the museum, one of the officers realized that the man working security behind the desk looked very suspicious, so he quickly asked for his ID. As the man slowly got up from the desk and approached the 2 officers, he realized that one of the officers' mustaches looked to have been glued on, but it was too late. He was quickly pinned against the wall and handcuffed. As the second security guard arrived, he was immediately handcuffed as well. Both men were then taken to the basement and cuffed to a steam pipe. They then had their arms, legs, and eyes tightly duct taped. You see, the emergency button to signal the police was located on the security desk, and the moment the worker got up to show his ID, he had left it unattended. For the next hour, the 2 thieves disguised as police officers would easily acquire 13 pieces of art, valued at around $200 million.
$200 million? They had 2 dudes guarding 200 mil?
In today's
Half a bill!
And with minimal adversity, the two thieves had pulled off the largest and most lucrative heist of all time. Not a single piece of useful evidence was left behind, and to this day, no one really knows what happened to those valuable pieces of art, but were more than likely sold on the black market. The two thieves responsible for the heist were never caught, and the only thing the FBI would ever put forward is this terrible sketch of the thieves. No arrests related to the case have ever been made. You see, the thieves knew that banks and diamond centers were carefully guarded with many security measures in place, but no one ever considered more than a single button to guard millions of dollars hanging on a wall. And with that critical flaw, the two thieves who entered as police officers truly got away with the perfect and most lucrative heist in all of history.
I can't fucking believe it, bro. That's what I'm saying, because this one happened when? 1990? I'm telling you, bro. Like, motherfuckers were not smart until, like, 2000, like, after the fucking recession. Like, nothing of any smarts happened until then.